Hello everyone, I am the Golden Scouta, and welcome back to another video, just giving you guys another pulse check and showing that I am in fact alive still. But anyways, with Sparking Zero less than a week away from release, I wanted to make a tier list video on all the Dragon Ball games that I've ever played. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So we will start with the first two games that I played, and that is Dragon Ball GT Final Bout and Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22. Now where would I put these? I would put them both in bad tier. I'm not gonna mince words. These were bad Dragon Ball games and just bad fighting games. If you had Tekken 3, you might as well just play that because that was the gold standard for the PlayStation. And honestly, I'm just glad that I did not buy these and I only just rented them over at Blockbuster. But moving on to another game that I actually really enjoy a lot, and that is Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warriors. Now, where would I put this? I would honestly put it at great. I think it's a great Dragon Ball game. There is a bit of a learning curve because the card game itself is very unique and there's nothing like it. But it's pretty simple to get down, and once you get the mechanics of it, you have a lot of fun, and unlocking all the characters and going through the story mode. Honestly, for a Game Boy Color game, that game gave me so many hours of entertainment, and I really enjoy it. I know some people might think it's not that great, but honestly, I'm in that camp where I just really love the game. So, on to Dragon Ball Z, The Legacy of Goku 1, and yeah, it's not a good game at all, but I will say that I think it's better than Final Bout and Ultimate Battle 22, and just because the way I got it was in a bargain bin for like 10 bucks. And I probably played it one time all the way through, and that's about it. I just think that the combat in this game is just really crappy, just for lack of better terms. But yeah, there's definitely better handheld Dragon Ball games out there. And with that, The Legacy of Goku 2, really great game too. I would say it's better than Legendary Super Warriors. In my opinion, The Legacy of Goku 2 and Boo's Fury, might as well put that up there too. I'd probably put it a little bit lower just because I think Boo's Fury is a little bit less balanced in comparison to Legacy of Goku 2. I think it's a lot easier just because levels come so easy, and if you just stack certain points, like the strength towards certain characters, you just give all your strength to someone, they're just going to punch something and they're just going to immediately die, even the bosses. But I think that these games they kind of remind me of like the 2D Zelda games in a lot of ways, but without as much puzzles. But I don't know, it's kind of one of those things that I drew the comparison to whenever I first played these. But on to, honestly, the worst Dragon Ball game thus far, Tenkaichi. Yeah, this game is worse than Dragon Ball GT Final Bout and Ultimate Battle 22. Because the one thing I will give these two games, they actually have pretty good soundtracks, and I actually still put them in some of my videos anyways. So there's that. But Tenkaichi honestly has no redeeming qualities about it. I got it for Christmas one year, and yeah, I was like, I'm glad I didn't have to like spend any money on it. So yeah, I can't express how terrible that game is. It's so stiff. It's even worse than Final Bout and Ultimate Battle 22 because those two games are very slow games. But Tenkaichi is just a very stiff game, and it's pretty much impossible to get any of the special moves off. But moving on from the bad games, I don't think that there's any other games that are going to be in that tier, but Super Sonic Warriors, I would honestly say that this is probably my favorite handheld Dragon Ball game, at least until the 3DS era. I haven't played Super Sonic Warriors 2, but honestly, for such a small roster, I had such a blast with this game whenever I was a kid. I probably poured at least like 20 or 30 hours into it collectively. So yeah, that was actually just a really good game for a handheld game. I mean, it doesn't really hold up that well now, just because I've heard Super Sonic Warriors 2 is just better. But at the time, this game was it. So I don't know. I guess I'll put it a little bit lower just because of the replayability not being quite as good as Legacy of Goku 2 or Boo's Fury. And I'd probably put it above Super Sonic Warriors just because, or Legendary Super Warriors, just because this game is just a little bit easier to pick up and play. But on to Dragon Ball Z Sagas, I honestly think that it's better than any of the bad tier. I think it's just an okay game. Like I said, like with Legacy of Goku 1, I played through the campaign once. I played through the campaign once with Sagas 2. And I mean, it was okay. It was fine for like a playthrough. I think I paid like $30 for it, and not too good of a price for how little replayability the game has, just because there's so many other games of the same type that do this genre a lot better. But I mean, it's okay. Like, I've played it once and it's alright. So Dragon Ball GT for the Game Boy Advance, it's one of those like side-scroller beat-em-up games. Again, I played through the campaign once, and it's alright. Like, it's a good game if you like the side-scroller beat-em-up type games, but in terms of Dragon Ball games, I don't really think it's anything that special, so that's why I put it there. So the Dragon Ball Z collectible card game, I mean, it's okay. Like, I played till the end and I beat Cell, but honestly, I think that the Dragon Ball Z card game is just not that great of a card game, especially if you compare it to Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, honestly, the collectible card game for Dragon Ball Z just really is not that good. But I can't put it in bad tier, because I mean, I at least played through the campaign once. But other than that, it's alright. So Dragon Ball Z Budokai, I would put it in good tier. I mean, the thing is that once you played Dragon Ball GT Final Bout and Ultimate Battle 22, and Budokai being such miles better, there's no comparison. Okay, so on to Budokai 2, and honestly, I found this to be such a great improvement over the first game gameplay-wise, because I know like the big appeal of Budokai 1, especially back in the day, is the fact that you could actually consume the whole Dragon Ball story within the actual game, and it be actually very serviceable, and you get the story beats and all that, and you understand what's going on. Because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but any of you who were around back then and remember, like, VHS tapes and the DVDs before the box sets came out, you will understand, and you will agree with me, that Dragon Ball was a very expensive franchise to actually own. So, Budokai 2, gameplay-wise, I think it's better than Budokai 1. The art style I like a little bit better. And yeah, I just think it was an improvement over the first game in every way, gameplay-wise. I know a lot of people are turned off by the game board thing, but I think it's good. So I would probably put it below Legendary Super Warriors, just because I don't know, just because I think Legendary Super Warriors is such a unique game, and Budokai 2, a lot of people, well, actually, I'll probably move it up. I think it's better than Super Sonic Warriors for sure, so I'll move it up. But Budokai 3, if it wasn't for Dragon Rush, I would put it in the best, but because that exists, I will put it above Budokai 2. Actually, I'll put it on the top of great. I think that Budokai 3 was the gold standard for traditional Dragon Ball fighting games for the longest time. So, on to Shin Budokai. Funny thing is, I never actually owned a PSP, but I borrowed it from my friend, and we used to exchange our DS and PSP so that way we could play the various games on each one of them. But I'd put it in good tier. It's not quite as good as Budokai 2 or Budokai 3, but it's up there. I mean, it's a good game. I'd say it's better than Budokai 1. It has a unique story, and yeah, I mean, it's basically Budokai 2 in your pocket, basically. Just a little bit more, not as good graphics, I'd say, just because, of course, being on a handheld. Alright, so the first Tenkaichi. I mean, it was a good game for whenever it came out. Like, I think everybody was super excited to play a game that felt like Dragon Ball. And so I'd put it at the top of good tier. Like, I had more fun with this game than I did with Budokai 1 or Shin Budokai. But, honestly, the other ones are just much, much better. So with Tenkaichi 2, I'm going to put that on towards the top of great. This was the game that me and my friends played the most out of all Dragon Ball games. We had a blast just playing it a lot, just especially since they added the whole functionality where you could add teams. That was such a great addition, and it made it so much fun to have these extended battles. So it really was just a step up above the first Tenkaichi, kind of like how Budokai 2 is such a step up from Budokai 1. And where would I put Tenkaichi 3? I would honestly put it at the top of great tier. I know it's tempting to put it at the best, but honestly I probably put about as much hours into Budokai Tenkaichi 2 and Tenkaichi 3. So I would put it on the top of great tier. There's just a couple, I would say about 3 more games that I honestly think are just better games, in my opinion, the ones that I've put the most hours into and have had the most enjoyment with. So, Dragon Ball Raging Blast. Honestly, I thought that this was a good game. It just wasn't quite as iconic as Tenkaichi 2, but it's really up there. Like, honestly, I think a lot of people sleep on this one. And I never played Raging Blast 2, so I don't know exactly about that one, but I don't know. But Burst Limit. Honestly, this another slept-on game. I would say that this is right up there with Raging Blast for the next-gen consoles at the time, because I had both of those for the Xbox 360. And it really just depends on which ones you enjoy more, but I would probably say Burst Limit I enjoyed more, but it just wasn't quite as iconic as Budokai 3, so for that reason I put them a little bit lower than their predecessors, but I would rather play Burst Limit than Budokai 2. And then same thing with Raging Blast, I'd rather play Raging Blast than the first Tenkaichi, but Tenkaichi 2 and Tenkaichi 3 are better. So, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. I never played the first one, so I never got that whole thing where there was like the statue of the character from the first game, but I honestly think that this is my favorite Dragon Ball simulator. I've put so many hours into this game, and I love the customization and just everything you can do. The stages feel so huge. The missions feel just very fun to play. This is one of those games that I just enjoyed a ton, and it is kind of funny that there is just, are they ever going to stop doing the actual updates for this? Because it just seems like they're going to do it forever, at least until Xenoverse 3 comes out, but that's if we actually get a Xenoverse 3. So, Dragon Ball FighterZ. Yeah, I would honestly say that that is like the best Dragon Ball game that we have. Not only is it a very good Dragon Ball game, but it's just a top-tier fighter game. Like, it's so fun to pull off everything. The fact that you have teams of up to 3 people, icing on the cake, amazing. I love it. I mean, I can't express how much I love Dragon Ball FighterZ. I truly think that it's possible that we might not ever get a game that's this good for a traditional fighter game. And yeah, it's just such a good game that I think it's the top of the Dragon Ball standard. And with Sparking Zero coming out, I think it's probably going to be the gold standard for Dragon Ball simulators. So, on to Dragon Ball Fusions, the last game that I played and on my 3DS, and let's say I got a 100% discount on it. But I love that game. It's so addicting. I love turn-based RPGs and strategy games. Like, I'm a big fan of the Fire Emblem series, and so this game was right up my alley. I've had a lot of fun with this game, and honestly, this is probably one of the more addicting Dragon Ball games I've ever played. So, I don't know, I guess I'll put it at number 2. Like, honestly, it's probably my second favorite Dragon Ball game of all time. And last but not least, Dokkan Battle, the app game. I mean, it's an app game. Like, I'll put it at okay. I'm not like one of those people who think it's amazing or whatever. Like, it's fine to play, like, if you're just out and about and bored and don't really know what to do and you might want to play a mobile game or something. But yeah, that's about it for this video. If you guys ever played any games that I didn't put on here, or if you have any agreements or disagreements, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. But anyways, guys, I will probably be making a video letting you know my thoughts on Dragon Ball Daima. So, look forward to that, and hopefully I don't go on another hiatus. But anyways, guys, you all have a great day, and thank you for watching.